Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is April 28, 2024, and we are getting into the volume 202 of me answering your immigration related questions. As always, before beginning this video, I'm gonna mention I am not an immigration attorney. This is not legal advice. All the information that is provided on this channel is directly from official government sources like USCIS and of course the Department of State with their visa bulletin. So let's start with the very first question from Jenna4433. Is it okay that you didn't include your middle name in the first name section? Okay, so the middle name is for the middle name section. The first name section is for the first name. If you do have the middle name, definitely include it in the middle name section. Don't include it in the first name section, but include it in the middle name section. Obviously, don't leave it blank. Don't put the not applicable in there. But if you forgot to put it in the DS260, that's the video that you're asking the question on, I would definitely recommend reaching out to the NVC through the public inquiry form and letting them know that you did not specify your middle name, that you forgot to mention it, or you put it in the wrong section, like for example your first name section. So definitely do that, and you can do that through the NVC portal. That's the best way to contact them, and they will be able to reopen your DS260 for you to make the necessary corrections. All right, let me post a response and we're gonna move on to the next one. From user, sorry, no name. My situation is my husband applied I-130 with his green card, actually 4 years ago in 2020. In 2022, we received our NVC welcome letter. Then also in the beginning, we had processed this case by an attorney. But he is a worst one. He just did nothing for 10 months while my case at NVC, then we decided this ourselves. Also, my husband applied for citizenship and I finally got my interview appointment on April 18th. I got this mail 1 month before the interview date. Also, my husband, yes, 1 month, perfect. Also, my husband became a US citizen 13 days before my interview. All right, I have a son. When I went to interview with lots of expectation, they broke my heart by saying my son won't receive visa because, again, we have to file a new I-130 for my son because my husband became a US citizen. So your son is over 21. But they ready to interview me, but I refuse to face interview. No, they holded my interview until my son's case becomes current. Hence, I have only the option to expedite my son's case. Do you know any better solution for this? Wow, this is quite a mess. So your son is over 21. And that is why he cannot go as derivative beneficiary. So I'm assuming when your husband filed the petition, your son was under 21, and then he aged out before your husband became a US citizen. Because if he did become a US citizen before your son turned 21, then the age would have been frozen and you would have been able to go through the interview together. Yeah, it definitely creates a little bit problem, especially the fact that you refused the interview. That's definitely not good. You should have gone through the interview. You should have gotten your immigrant visa, because there isn't really much now that you can do. I really don't know what's going to happen now with your case. But as far as for your son, there is really not much you can do to expedite, because as a son or daughter of a US citizen over 21, you do have to some time to wait, and honestly, your attorney should have told you that. Man. Yeah, honestly, the best thing to do right now is to shop around for a new attorney, because your case is not an easy case. It's a pretty complicated case. You should not have refused the interview. That was a very, very not a good thing to do. You can't expect from a consul to do something that is outside of the regulations, that is outside of the legislation that was established by US Congress. The US Embassy is not above US Congress. It is US Congress that limits Us immigrants, and don't get me wrong, I understand completely. I'm an immigrant myself, and I went through all of these stages. But you can't do these hissy fits and say, oh, you know, unless you give my son a visa, then don't give me visa. You only created worse for yourself, because now you could have had the immigrant visa, but because of your refusal of the interview, I honestly don't know what's gonna happen, because I never seen anything like this. So your husband definitely needs to reach out to immigration attorneys, because you definitely need an attorney. And I have a video on this channel how to find a good immigration attorney for your son. If I'm understanding correctly, and I think I do, because that's why the council told that another I-130 needs to be filed. You know, he's over 21, so that's just the rules. That's the way it is. You know, there's thousands of other people that are waiting for their son and daughter, and they're waiting for the backlog to go through. We are all waiting for something. So yeah, your husband needs to file a separate I-130 for your son. And as far as your case, hopefully a new interview can be rescheduled for you so that you can go and get your immigrant visa. But he definitely needs to reach out to and find a good immigration attorney. Shop around for a good immigration attorney who dealt with similar situations. And yeah, I'm sorry. I know you how it feels, but at the same time, you get the opportunity that people around the world are waiting for years, and you yourself waited for years. Your husband worked for this. Bunch of other people worked for this case so that you can go through and get that interview. And you're delaying the whole process, not just for everybody else, for yourself as well. Okay, let's move on to the next one. From Bethlehem Zedu 382. What is the use of filing the form online if we still print out and sign? Okay, when you file the form online, you don't print out and sign. Once you fill it out online, you make the payment, you put in electronically, you put your full name, and that counts as your signature. Once you make the payment, the form is online, electronically submitted. You don't need to print it out and sign. Is there any option that we can sign electronically? Yes, on the online form, it's the only option is to sign electronically. You typing in your full name, and that's it. The only thing that you print out is when you're filing the form by mail. You fill it out on the computer, or it doesn't matter, you can print it out and fill it out by hand, but I recommend printing it out, typing it out on the computer, then printing it out, signing it, and then mailing it. But for online form, you sign it online. Alright, let's move on to the next one from Paula Dome 7324. Hello sir, thank you so much for the updates you have been giving us. I am F1 category, all chargeability area, priority date is May 2016, and documentarily qualified is November 2022. Please, the copy of passport and birth certificate I submitted to NVC is missing. What do I do on the day of my interview, and am I supposed to send the new passport and birth certificate to NVC, or I should wait? Thank you. Paula, thank you for your question. So you're already documentarily qualified. So that means that NVC did receive your passport and birth certificate. So I'm assuming when you log into your NVC portal, it is no longer showing your passport and birth certificate for some reason. So don't worry about that. You're gonna have to bring the original passport and the original birth certificate for the interview anyway. So just bring that and you should be fine. If you were not documentarily qualified yet, I would say yes, reach out to the NVC and see what's going on. But you're already documentarily qualified, and NVC will not documentarily qualify you without the required documents. So if they did, it means they already have the required documents. So don't worry about that. Just make sure to bring passport, birth certificate, and whatever else is necessary to bring for the interview, and you should be good to go. All right, let me post a response here, and we're gonna move on further to User UK9 by, sorry, no name. Hi sir, I am F1, my dad is US citizen, NVC create my case. Is there system from 2022? I'm over 21, how much years do I have left? Okay, looks like multiple comments from this user. I'm over 21. Hi sir, watch your channel, and if my case create is the system at NVC from 2022, I'm in F1, my dad is US citizen, how much years do I have to wait? So if I understand this correctly, your priority date is not in 2022. Your priority date is earlier than 2022 because in 2022 the NVC case was created. So what I need to do in order to give you more or less rough estimates, I need three things. I need three pieces of information. Your priority date, when your I-130 was received by USCIS, your chargeability area, and I already know your status, but put your status as well, and then we're gonna take a look at the visa bulletin and see what's going on. If you want to do calculation yourself, you can do that yourself. So let's assume that your priority date is in 2022. If we look at the visa bulletin, we're looking at the graph A because we want to see the full length of the backlog, how long you will be waiting before your immigrant visa becomes available. So as of right now, May 2024, visa bulletin, people with priority date in July 2015, their immigrant visas are becoming available. That is for F1 category, same category as you are. So if your priority date is in 2022, roughly you still have about 7 years to wait for the backlog to go through before the immigrant visa becomes available. But your priority date is definitely earlier than 2022 because in 2022 NVC received your case. So let me know your priority date, let me know your chargeability area, and once again, for everyone who's watching, your category. That's the three things I need to look at the visa bulletin, and I'll take a look and let you know. So let me click on all of these. Actually, I'll post a response here as well. And we're gonna move on to the next one from Deacon Tipaji Boshar. Hello sir, my priority date was in March 2022. I'm documentarily qualified, approved July 2023. My husband is a US citizen. I'm from Liberia. When I check on the wait time for spouse visa interview 2024, I'm seeing 12 months for I-130. Please sir, can you please help to explain that a little bit? Okay, when I check on the wait time for spouse visa interview 2024, I'm seeing 12 months. Let me ask you a question. So where are you looking at regarding that information? Because, I mean, it sounds correct. It sounds correct. About 12 months after the immigrant visa becomes available, the interview scheduled, I would say right now, that seems to be the average for most of the countries around the world that don't have as much of the immigration flow as some of the countries. US embassies, that is. 12 months sounds correct. But again, if you're looking at the official government website, at the US Embassy website in Liberia, yeah, I would say, yeah, that sounds about right. But again, keep that in mind. It is 12 months after the immigrant visa becomes available, not after the documentary qualification, not after any of these things, but after your priority date becomes current and immigrant visa is available. Okay, so let me post a response here, and we're gonna move on to the next one from Temitopen Marianne Kiodeosoba. Definitely mispronounced that, sorry about that. Hi, I am F31, class priority date December 2017, documentarily qualified 2021. How long more are we waiting? Nigeria. Okay, so let's take a look. So Nigeria is going to be all chargeability area. Let's take a look at the F3 category. So F3 is married sons and daughters of US citizens. So as of right now, we are looking at January 2010. That is the priority dates that are becoming current as of May, so next month, in a couple days, as of May 2024. And your priority date is in December 2017. So you're roughly looking, so it's January, you December 2017, so you're almost December 2017, January 2016. So you're roughly looking at about 7 years. A little bit more because, wait, December, January. Yeah, we're going backwards. So roughly another 7 years before the priority date becomes current. Hopefully we will see some positive movement for all the categories, honestly. And we did see some really good movement, but for now it's some more waiting. So I wish you patience, and I can completely relate because I have a petition myself that I'm waiting on, and I have 13 more years to wait on that petition. So I completely understand when it comes to waiting. But what you can do is stay on top of the visa bulletin. As soon as, every month the new visa bulletin is coming out, just keep tracking, obviously in your situation F3, and just so that you're aware of the movement. On this channel I do, every month the new visa bulletin comes out, I do the video on each individual visa bulletin, comparing it to the previous months so that everyone can see the movement. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Harpreet Kaur. Hello sir, how are you? I'm back. I'm petitioner, F4 category, India. Finally, I got the case number and invoice ID number and able to open the NVC portal and noticed one of the child name is wrong. Can you please explain how to correct the name and what documents I need to submit? Okay, Harpreet, congratulations. Finally, you got that. So F4 category, you've been waiting for quite a long time. That's very exciting. So definitely want to correct your child's name for sure. In order for you to do that, you would have to do now, because you are not documentarily qualified yet, you can reach out to them through the NVC portal. There should be an email within the NVC portal. Unless they updated it, it might be an online form. So within that NVC portal, there should be contact us. But it's been probably a few months since I last logged into the NVC portal. So they might have changed something. If you cannot find it there, then you would have to submit a public inquiry form. I'm gonna find the link for you, and I'm gonna paste it. And for everyone who needs to reach out to the NVC, whether you want to check for updates, whether you want to make any corrections, the best way to reach out, the quickest to get the response from them, is through the public inquiry form. And you do that through the US Department of State website. So this is the visa bulletin page. You can find it in the description of this video and in all of the videos on this channel. So from this, scroll up all the way up and you will see contact us right here. I'm gonna open it in new tab. And then you're gonna scroll down to US visas contacts right here. I'm gonna click on this. Scroll down a little bit more, and in this table, in the first row, you will see email, public inquiry form right here. Click on public inquiry form, and then scroll down a little bit more, and you will see this line, online immigrant visa inquiries only, public inquiry form. So click on this, and there you go. This is your public inquiry form. You'll put in your NVC case number here. Principal applicant full name is beneficiary's full name. Principal applicant date of birth, beneficiary's date of birth. Petitioner's full name, who you are, petitioner, beneficiary, attorney. Email, and then in your inquiry, for example, in Harpreet Kaur's example, it's gonna be, hey, dear sir, madam, whatever, be professional, be polite. My name is this and this, my case number is this and that. I'm reaching out because after logging into the NVC portal, I realized that one of my children's name is spelled incorrectly. Here's the correct spelling, and you can make an attachment of birth certificate of your child, would be perfect to show the correct spelling. And then you submit it, and yeah, they're pretty quick to respond to these. So let me copy this. Let me post the response first. But yeah, Harpreet, you should be able to contact them through the NVC portal. Use this form only if you do not see a contact us through the NVC portal, which honestly is pretty much the same exact thing. The only difference is that when you send it to them through the NVC portal, they already have your case in front of them, basically. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Chan Mahadeo. Chan, thank you very much for being publicly subscribed. Appreciate that. Hi, I am F2A category priority date 2017, documentarily qualified 2021. How long again? Trinidad and Tobago. All right, let's take a look at the visa bulletin. So you're in all chargeability area. F2A, so we are looking at June 21. So you've been current already for some time now because your priority date is in 2017. So you have been already documentarily qualified for 3 years and your priority date has been current for a very long time. So your interview should have been scheduled already. It is already scheduled. I'm pretty sure it is already scheduled. You just don't know it yet because they only announce the interview 30 days before the actual interview date. But what I would recommend you do definitely is reach out to the US Embassy. That is where your interview is going to take place. Let them know that you have been documentarily qualified for 3 years now, and that your priority date has been current for however long it has been current now, and that you wanted to see when the interview was scheduled for. A lot of times they don't give you that information. They say, sorry, we can't give you that information. But it is worth a shot still, especially because you've been waiting for that long. But I'm thinking you should be getting your interview really anytime now. So let me give you the website. Let's see, US Embassy. Now, you say you are from Trinidad. So let's see, Trinidad. See the US Embassy in Trinidad. Trinidad and Tobago. There you go. All right, here we go. Embassy in Port of Spain. So here's their phone number. Yeah, just be polite, be professional for everyone. If you're calling, if you're contacting, if you're reaching out, always be polite, always be professional. If they tell you no, say, okay, not a problem at all. Thank you very much for your help. Appreciate it. That's it. Don't try to argue with them. Don't try to, because it's useless. In fact, you're going to make it worse. You're going to make it worse for yourself. You're going to make it worse for your relatives, because I-130 cases is a family reunification case. It's not just you, it's also another relative. Whether you are a petitioner, whether you are a beneficiary, it's more than one person involved in this. So don't make it more complicated than it already is. All right, copy this, and we're gonna move on to the next one from Arslan Leila. Hello, how are you? It has been 13 months since I received asylum. With your help, I was able to apply myself. Thank you again. You're very welcome. My current question, can I apply for green card while my asylum application is ongoing? My asylum application has not been finalized yet. I'm waiting for an appointment for the interview. Okay, I have been physically in the USA for 13 months. Could you please answer my question? I will be happy. Have a nice day. Okay, thank you very much for your question. So I'm glad my videos are helpful. So whenever it comes to asylum, it is 1 year after your asylum application is approved that you can apply for a green card. So you need to go through your interview. Hopefully everything goes through well and your asylum is granted. Once it is granted, a year after your asylum is granted, you can apply for the permanent residence. So right now it is a little bit early for that. Okay, let me post a response here, and we're gonna move on to the next one from Tommy Christus. Hello, bro. Documentarily qualified March 2023 F2 category. Priority date 2017 from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. All right. So how long wait to schedule interview? Thank you. All right, Tommy. Thank you for your question. So your F2A category, you've been documentarily qualified and your priority date is in 2017. So you have been current. So you're from Ethiopia, so you're all chargeability area. So you've been current for quite some time now, and you were documentarily qualified over a year ago, which means I'm pretty sure your interview should already be scheduled. Again, you just don't know when, because they only announce the interview 1 month, 30 days before the actual interview date. So Tommy, the same exact thing that I told to Chan, reach out to the US Embassy in Ethiopia, be very polite, be very professional, and give them your information. Say, hey, I've been current for a while, I've been documentarily qualified for over a year. I wanted to see when my interview is scheduled for. Here's the thing, here's the difference whenever it comes to calling. If you're calling, first of all, they don't have to tell you your interview date. But if you get a cautious person on the phone, they can tell you approximately how long people are waiting for their interviews to be scheduled. So they will look at your case, see that you've been documentarily qualified, that you've been current already for however long, and you've been waiting for, say, a year and a half. They can say, well, typically people are waiting for about a year and 8 months or 2 years. And you're gonna know, okay, so I approximately have another 4 months, another 3 months, another 6 months before my interview is scheduled. Sometimes, in some situations, again, because it's not an official announcement of the interview, they can look in their system and actually tell you when your interview is scheduled for, because it's not official announcement. The reason why they can give you the official announcement when your interview is scheduled is because you have to do the medical examination within the 30 days. So yes, definitely worth a shot reaching out to the US Embassy. But again, if they tell you no, we can't give you that information, say thank you very much, not a problem at all. I appreciate your help, and that is it. Because that's all we can do. Unfortunately, that's all we can do. All right, so let's put the link here, and we're gonna move on to the next one. But yeah, because you've been current for a long time already, I'm pretty sure your interview, definitely I would say by the end of this year, but can be really anytime around the corner. Okay, let's move on to the next one from user, sorry, no name. It happened to me and he didn't get papers, but he mentally abused me and was a narcissist, made me stress so much, he lied so much. Con artist, I should have seen the flags, he didn't marry me for love. 5 years of lies, but we are divorcing and I survived this mental breakdown he caused me. I'm good with the fact he didn't get his papers. Karma is real. I'm very sorry this happened to you. Unfortunately, yeah, that was a comment posted on, I think my husband married me for a green card. The reason why I made this video is because this is unfortunately a common thing whenever it comes to the immigration. And as an immigrant myself, I hate to see stuff like this happen. I hate to see people, it's one thing when you try to abuse the system, which I don't support on this channel at all. And if I see that someone is doing something that is abusive to the system, I don't respond to those comments. Because I see people on a daily basis, hundreds of people, thousands of people doing things the right way, and they're waiting, they are going through the interviews, they're paying the fees, they're going through the medical examinations, they're going through the background checks, they're doing things the right way. And I myself did things the right way to be here. And like I said earlier in this video, I myself have a petition for my brother. But it is one thing when you use the system, and it is another thing when you abuse, individual people, especially giving them hope, especially giving them something that you're not giving them. You're doing it to use for what? For papers? For immigration status? Well, these people have no fear of God. Because when you do things like this, when you play with people's hearts like this, God is just, and he will eventually catch up to these people. So I'm sorry this happened to you, but you will receive the blessing instead of this, and it will be a lesson to you, and it will be a lesson to people around you. That there is evil like this, and you have to have discernment, and you have to be more careful, and pay attention to things, because we all see red flags, and a lot of times we find excuses for other people, and unfortunately get ourselves in situations like this. All right, let's move on to the next one from Mary B. Tube 1746. Thank you very much, sir. I have a single question. In my case, I'm heading to seek asylum in US. Fortunately, faced with this opportunity. Could have been any effect related to this TPS with seeking asylum? Thank you, appreciate. Okay, so I don't think I understand your question. So you have a temporary protected well, you can't have a temporary protected status because you're outside of the United States. Because if you had the temporary protected status, you would have been in the United States. And you wouldn't need to seek asylum because you would have had the temporary protected status. Or are you planning to do the temporary protected status and the asylum? In that case, yes, it's either this or that. You shouldn't really do both. If your country, because it depends on the country that you're from. If your country is on the list of the countries that U.S. government allows for a temporary protected status application to be submitted from the national of that country, then yeah, obviously temporary protected status would be a more rational, I would say, not rational, more beneficial, I guess, decision. But yeah, if I'm misunderstanding your question, let me know, because I'm a little bit confused by your question. All right, let's do the last question for today from Kalima Townsend. My husband F3 petition rest of the world is now current in May visa bulletin. Priority date is May 24, 2010. Our 2 sons were left off the invoice. Can the CSPA form help our case? I'm sorry, Kalima, this happened to you. So, okay, so your 2 sons are over 21. It's F3 petition. Your husband, wait a second, my husband F3 petition rest of the world is now current. I see. So your husband's parents are US citizens and they petitioned for your husband. And your spouse, obviously your wife, so you're going as derivative beneficiary, but your sons are over 21. Okay, so most likely not, unfortunately, Kalima, because F3 is one of the categories where there's quite a long wait. And when you have that much of a backlog, a lot of times CSPA is just not enough. Under CSPA, you're allowed to subtract the amount of time the USCIS petition, I-130 petition, was pending with USCIS. And that is really it. So what you need to do is you need to take a look. You already know the priority date, May 24, 2010. That's when I-130 was received by USCIS. The second date that you need to look at is when the I-130 was approved by USCIS. And between that, May 24, 2010, and the second date when the I-130 was approved, amount of time, that's the amount of time that you will be able to subtract from the age of your sons on the day of interview. And if it brings them down to under 21, then they do qualify under the CSPA. Which a lot of times it doesn't work, again, for categories like F3, F4, because the backlog is there's just too much backlog in order to take advantage of the CSPA. But do that calculation, see if it brings them down. And if not, then obviously you still have a little bit of time, because now that your priority date is current, your husband's priority date is current, the interview is going to be scheduled, so there is still some time before the actual interview. So work on that time to find some avenues for your sons to be able to travel with you as well, whether it's a non-immigrant visitor visa, whether it's non-immigrant F1, just so that they can travel with you. And then obviously once your husband, he comes into the United States with the I-551 stamp, you and your husband, both of you will receive the I-551 stamp. Once you enter the United States with that immigrant visa, it automatically converts to the permanent residence, temporary permanent resident card. You will receive your actual permanent resident card in the mail, but you already entered the US as permanent residents. And as soon as you enter, you can file petitions. Well, if your sons are unmarried, you can file the petitions. They're going to be in F2B. So while you're waiting for those petitions, because there is some time for in F2B, there is some time to wait. While you're waiting for that, at least, they will have the opportunity to be here in the United States with you, whether it is on visitor visa or F1 or exchange, whatever it is. Okay, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully my answers were helpful today. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.